Generational wealth. Generational wealth. Generational wealth. What is generational wealth? We asked our communities, and this is what they had to say.
Generational wealth to me means to provide and establish wealth for generations to come, whether it be through real estate or through other equitable funding, stocks, bonds, but first of all, I think that general wealth starts with the securing property. And that's it.
This campaign to create awareness to generational wealth is brought to you by the Department of Neighborhood's Generational Wealth Initiative, the Washington Housing Finance Commission, and Rainier Avenue Radio App. Create your generational wealth for you and the future of your families.
Hello, I'm Tony Young, and every week I will be your guide to the music of the Fab Four with my show With the Beatles. John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr, those four lads from Liverpool. First airings are Tuesday night from 7 to 9 p.m. with repeats on Thursdays and Saturdays from 8 to 10 a.m. right here on Rainier Avenue Radio. Tune in to catch Beatlemania.
Welcome to the coronavirus pandemic. I'll take coronavirus for 100. Fever, chills, shortness of breath, loss of taste or smell. What is stay at home and isolate? Correct. Coronavirus for 200. Inability to stay awake, persistent pain or pressure in chest, trouble breathing. What is seek immediate help?
Coronavirus for 500.
Crippling and potentially dead infectious disease eliminated the United States with vaccination.
What is polio vaccine? I'll take coronavirus for 700.
The Daily Double! Should I take the coronavirus vaccine? Wait. Hold up. This is not a game. It's time for serious discussions. We have coronavirus vaccines, but not everyone is comfortable taking them. Here's the facts. Based on what has been proven about vaccines for other diseases, COVID-19 vaccine may help keep you from getting seriously ill, even if you do get the virus. Getting vaccinated also may protect people around, particularly those at greater risk for severe illness from COVID-19. We don't yet have all of the answers. Get informed, talk to your healthcare physician, and make the right decision for you. This is a message supported by the Washington State Department of Health.
You are listening to Rainier Avenue Radio World. Don't forget to log on www.rainieravenue Radio.world.
Peace and blessings, community. This is Rainier Avenue Radio, centering voices with Blaze. Before I get into the show, I got some quick Rainier Avenue Radio program announcements. There will be a live town hall on Chinatown International District Light Rail this Wednesday, May 29th, live at 6 p.m. right here on Rainier Avenue Radio. Again, this is Rainier Avenue Radio, centering voices with Blaze. Today, I have a very special guest, as all my guests are special as they're from community. But before I get to introducing my guests, I just got a few thoughts about how you can find your calling coming from a crisis. In my experience, particularly with incarceration, spending almost half my life in prison, it was through that crisis that I found my particular calling and I actually found my voice to not only speak up and advocate for myself, but advocate for others. I'd also discovered that crises or challenges in our lives provide opportunities for our growth and development, for us to discover things that we would have not discovered in ourselves had we not been through them. As you grow through what you go through. And my next guest, my brother, is an epitome of that, is an epitome of how he found his calling through his crisis while he was on the inside. And so without further ado, I would like to introduce my brother and allow him to formally introduce himself, JT. Peace, brother. How you doing?
Greetings. 'Tis I, JT, from the land
of yonder. No, seriously, it's JT. I'm in the house. Jonathan Jones, Thomas, South Seattle repping. You already know what it is. We do it big. Every time we do it big.
Yeah, most definitely. And please just tell us where you're from, tell us about yourself, and tell us how you serve community.
Oh, well, so serving community to me is something that's near dear to my heart. As an environmentalist, I want to see everybody in the community growing their own farms, having their own vegetables and medicine, access to land ownership. I started this walk in prison. When I was in prison, I was studying wastewater treatment books at a California State University's Office of Water Programs. I was trying to learn how to, what can I do to make contributions, positive contributions to my environment. And water treatment found me basically. And while I was studying in the penitentiary, I discovered that the prison was spilling Monroe Correctional Complex tens of thousands of gallons of raw sewage in the Skycomish River. As I started to ask questions about what was going on, that threw me in the hole. And that was my first act of environmental activism. While I was in the prison, discovering these things in the hole, I kept studying. Eventually got certified through the Washington State Department of Ecology, Department of Health. Once I got out, I started working in the community in green jobs, different cities and entities. The same activism that I displayed in prison, I displayed on the outside, working for these entities, making sure that these entities are held accountable for water quality violations in the state of Washington. And now I sit on different boards, NAACP, Black Prisoners Caucus. I founded this little entity called the Black Agriculture Leadership Council, and it's our goal to have 1,000 acres by the end of the year. So yes, I'm an environmentalist, and my community activism runs deep.
Yeah, most definitely. And so for our viewers, can you just elaborate what it means to be an environmentalist, an activist, and why is it important for us in the community to be aware of these things and to join in the efforts?
So historically speaking, Black people, people of color, poor people, industries that polluted the environment were placed in neighborhoods that was closest to Black neighborhoods and poor neighborhoods. Smog, pollution, water pollution, PFAS, landfills, all these things were placed by Black communities. So it's very important for us as people of color, poor people, all people who are affected by environmental injustices, stand up and step up. A lot of people don't know. So what it means to me to be an environmental activist or an environmentalist is basically raising awareness for people. If you don't know how to grow food, how are you going to grow food? If you don't know the different resources with the U.S. Department of Agriculture and the harm that it's done, and now the resources that are available to undo some of that harm, then how are you going to have your own farm so you can contribute to nutritious food for your families and things like that? So that's what it means to me, is going around spreading awareness in my community, the different boards that I sit on, the different groups that I'm in, to be an environmentalist. It's really about the youth. We want to make sure that the next generation coming up, they know the difference between clean water and dirty water and how to clean dirty water. They know the nutrient transfer between condensation, precipitation, and percolation, and how micronutrients are transferred so vegetables can synthesize photosynthesis. I want to teach kids, what the biochemical oxygen demand is in water. So when they see oxygen matter breaking down in water, they know, hey, this is not a good thing. It's going to suffocate the fish. The organic matter is going to take all the other oxygen out of the water, and the fish will die because they don't have oxygen in the water. We need to be educating our people about that. And that's what it means to me as an environmentalist. I'm an educator. It's time for me to take the stuff that I learned in the penitentiary and transfer it to my community members in a way that they can learn it and regurgitate it, so we can all come up.
Yeah, most definitely. And so I do got a follow-up question with you about like the toxins and the harms that our communities were situated in, low-income communities in particular. And so it's a two-part question. I would like for you to raise awareness of some of those toxins and how does it affect our health? But then also the other part of the question as well, the importance of gardening and growing your own food and why that is significant for our health and wellness.
Right. So as you know, Black folks came over here. Typically, we were put to work in farms. We were slaves. Some of us came from native background, but whatever background you came from, there was some farming and some agriculture practices taking place in your family. There were no grocery stores. There wasn't no McDonald's. I'm trying to get back to that. The importance is we're relying on government entities and corporations to feed and to nourish us. And red dye number 40 is toxic. Some of the different hydrogenated oils are toxic. They cause cancer. PFAS from non-stick chemicals, it's toxic. Microplastics, they're all toxic. Anything that comes in a plastic container that has some type of an adhesive seal on it, those are toxic chemicals. And it's normal for us to consume these things. We need to get back into canning, get back into foraging and knowing what edible plants and medicinal flowers will help and benefit us. So the benefits to growing your own garden are, tenfold, especially if you know what plants are going to heal you if you have an ailment, or what plants are going to clear your mind if you have some type of a mental health issue, something you're going through. Dandelion root, stinging nettle, all these things that we were taught were weeds are actually medicinal plants. And we have to start educating ourselves on how to grow these things and heal our community.
Yes, most definitely. I hear you when you talk about that red dye 40. That's like that red dye on them M&Ms or the hydrogenated oils in all types of different type of foods and snacks and chips that are packaged up. And then also when you talked about the microplastics, that can be like imperceptible particles that's inside of our water, right?
Exactly. And
so, yeah, most definitely. I took a class rooted in success when I was inside. So I got a good background of it, but it's definitely important for our community to understand these things so they can know the opposite end, like you said, how significant it is for us to get back to our essence of growing our own vegetables. And for me, when I discovered these things and getting to discovering about agriculture and just about planting things, I discovered we got some planter pots on the side of our house, right?
Uh-huh.
And we had the kids. We tilled it. I built them up. We tilled it, and we planted those seeds. And 2 days later, there was something already sprouting, right, which was amazing. And one of the things that I thought about before is that the world is 70% water, like 30% earth, but the earth, like across the water, if we use the earth well, we could feed the whole world over seven times. But we find ourselves in these urban areas with concrete poured over all this fertile land that could be used to feed everybody. I just found that to just be something that just boggled my mind when I really started looking into, agriculture and environmentalists and particularly, how we harm the earth. And so I know you, brother, to be a brother of big ideas.
Yes, sir.
A brother of not simply just goals.
Wow.
And not simply just accomplishments and benchmarks.
Come on, man.
But a brother of great vision.
Great vision.
And so I want you to share with us some of your ideas, some of your big visions that you have that's spurred by your calling in life to be a Black environmentalist.
70 years ago. Big ideas.
Hold up, first real quick. We want to get some audience engagement.
A little audience engagement.
We got Amir Precious, my daughter. And she got a question. She got a question for our guests.
Hey, Precious.
And Amir says, I'm a teen and part of a nonprofit called Cultivating Brilliance. How can youth organizations join something like this or join something like your movement?
That's a great question. That's a top tier. Here's the tier. It's up here. That's the type of question it is. How can you get involved? Well, there is a youth program through the NAACP, which I sit on a board, that this summer we're going to be taking people in the community, youths in the community, and we want to build out a youth council so we can do some of this work with the youth, depending on what the demographic is. That's one way to get involved. Another way to get involved is this entity that was founded earlier this year called the Black Agriculture Leadership Council. I'm going to talk a little bit about that. We're definitely looking for some youth to invest into to make sure that the practices that we were discussing are implemented in the youth. So if you want to get involved, Black Agriculture Leadership or NAACP, those are two great routes where we can get involved, get the contact information, go follow up with the hosts, definitely put it together.
Yeah, most definitely. And so with that said, I want you to let's talk about your vision, brother. Talk about your vision for all of this.
All right, so let's talk about the vision, the big and expanding vision. It all starts off with community. My vision is I want to see what's called a community resiliency hub. A community resiliency hub is just what it sounds. It's a place for the community to gather, farming and agriculture practice, emergency preparedness drills. We're growing medicine. We have, there it is, a nice little graphic of it. There's a tilapia farm, auditorium, multiple barns, outhouses, housing. I want to see this thing be a reality. We should, in a perfect world, we would have maybe 5 of those up and down the I-5 corridors, so for people to evacuate to and or perform their farming and agriculture practices. The Black Agriculture Leadership Council, the entity that was founded earlier this year, like I was saying, it's the goal to have 1,000 acres. We have 361 acres under ownership and operation. And we just started the entity earlier this year. It is our goal to see those community resiliency hubs in the community where we can train community members on the practices that we were talking about. One of the main focuses on this community resiliency hub is the technologies that are found in this building in Portland called the PAE building. This building, PAE building, it's a completely off-grid building in the heart of downtown Portland. These technologies, power systems, water reclamation, wastewater systems, they were all located inside of the building. The PAE building, aka the Living Building in downtown Portland, Oregon, is a model that I want to model these community resiliency hubs after. About 5 of them. I think the build cost is going to be like $45 million for everything that we need. We're partnering with Evergreen State College in Tacoma to train people up on these technologies so they can then go to the community resiliency hubs and perform the work in the community. It's a big plan. There's been a lot of thought. There's a lot of partners involved, from the EPA to the city of Seattle, state of Washington, Department of Agriculture. There's a couple other folks that were getting involved. We're trying to get on board, not to mention 14 different community-based organizations and entities that are involved with it. So yeah, it's a big plan. It's a big project, and we got a lot of work to be done. Get involved. Black Agriculture Leadership, baby.
Okay, most definitely. And with your vision, where do you first see the first hub at?
So the flagship hub is going to be located in this 78-acre property in Auburn, Washington, called the Sacred Land Collective. The Sacred Land Collective is ran by 3 wonderful individuals, and they handle the day-to-day operations. They are a part of our organization. One of the founding members of that is also the founding members of the Black Agriculture Leadership Council. The 78 acres is a part of the 361 acres, and that is going to be our flagship. We've been working with the largest engineering firm in the world, WSP. They're, as we speak, writing up designs for what you just saw, the Climate Resiliency Hub, so we can start doing good work here in the state of Washington. The second will be, I'm hoping, next to the Nectar Lounge in Fremont, Washington. There's a building for sale for $2.9 million. It's overpriced, but that's a good thing. Nobody's bought it. So hopefully it'll be available for purchase. That building, I'm hoping, will be the next hub. After it's said and done, the build will be 21,000 square feet, 75 feet tall, and 5 stories when it's all said and done. With the build cost of that, I think was like 18 million or something like that. That was the quote from the engineer. But yeah, we're trying to make some moves. It's no small talk around here, big baby.
Absolutely. And so I want to ask you, what's the significance of calling them community resiliency hubs?
So the concept of a community resiliency hub is that it remains open in the event of an emergency. That's big. When everything else is down, this is a beacon of light on the hill. If something's happening and you can't get what you need from wherever you get it, you come to us, a community resiliency hub for the community. That's what we're building. That's the hunger in my stomach and a lot of the stomachs across Seattle and major metropolitan King County. We need an escape plan. I don't want to wait for the federal government or the police department or one of these other entities. I want to make sure that my community has a plan to get out, to provide respite, food, water, shelter, power, and everything else that we need, security. And we're planning about it. We're planning for it right now. That's what we're doing.
Most definitely. Kuji Chagalia, self-determination.
Yeah, let's
Kwanzaa
go.
principles.
Let's go.
Most definitely.
Let's go.
And so, real quick, can you tell us any upcoming events that individuals and community members need to be aware of that they can participate in these things that you're passionate about?
Yes. So if you go to Black Ag Leadership Council, Black_Ag_Leadership_Council at Instagram, you can follow up with everything. There is an open house at the Sacred Land Collective. It is RSVP. You definitely could pull up on that. They got Black Wall Street on Monday. If you're from the town, you could pull up on that on June 13th. On June 13th, there's what's called a charrette. If you are in the construction industry, a charrette is a community-involved offering where development firms and different owners present to the community, and the community can offer feedback on a prospective construction project. There's going to be a charrette on the 13th at the Sacred Land Collective. It is going to be RSVP. We're going to have live food or live music, food, tents, everything if it's raining. So definitely pull up on that. There's a lot of stuff happening.
What day is that again?
That's going to be the 13th of June.
Okay, most definitely. Most definitely. And before we wrap it up, where can we find you? Where can we find you on social media?
Yeah, as a startup entity, we're still in the startup process. The Black Agriculture Leadership Council was just founded. We're still getting stuff off the ground. Like I said, Black_Ag, that's AG Ag _leadership_council at Instagram. On Instagram, you can find me, and Evergreen King JT on Instagram, you can find me, and LinkedIn. You can also find me in the town. What's up, bro?
Oh no, I was pointing down at your social on the graphic on the bottom.
Oh,
and so
okay.
Real quick, if you had 30 seconds to just break down why the things that you're passionate about is important, and we should be passionate about it as well.
Check this out. This is some real talk. Where are the warriors? Our ancestors were warriors. That's how we got here. Who's tapping in to the warrior? Or are you just Netflix and chilling? What are you doing for real for your community? Huh? Tap in. Where's the motivation in your stomach for what's going on around you? It's your responsibility. You don't think it is, but it is, because you got the power to change it. And if you're not, then you won't. Where you at, warrior?
JT, my brother, my guy. It's definitely been a pleasure having you on the show.
Yes.
And then it's definitely just a pleasure to be able to work with you.
Yes.
To participate in the Black Agriculture Leadership Council with
Yes.
you. And any other endeavors that you're passionate about that we do when we out here serving community.
Yes.
So I greatly appreciate you coming through to the show. Greatly appreciate you giving us a crash course on some environmental issues that we need to be concerned about with our community. And then I'm just grateful for to have your friendship, brother.
Right on, my man.
Right on. Right on.
Yes.
And again, one thing before we wrap up, I just want to make a real quick announcement again. Live town hall in Chinatown and International District, Light Rail, this Wednesday, May 29th, live at 6 p.m. right here on Rainier Avenue Radio. And again, just as I begun, we find our times in our most challenging times is an opportunity for us to find our calling. And it is from us overcoming our struggles that we had a wisdom to help guide individuals who struggle with similar challenges. I've been fortunate enough in my journey and in my struggles to meet individuals, to meet peers who have been through what I've been through and was able to share the wisdom to shorten my learning curve for me to be able to navigate. And with their assistance, I simply seek to pay it forward by extending my wisdom and extending this platform for an opportunity for all community members to be highlighted in the work that they do, and so we can ultimately come together. And that's my ultimate goal for this particular platform in this nascent stage, is that for us to continue to highlight week to week the extraordinary in what might be perceived in the ordinary lives that we live every day, on how the historical harms that we've endured in this country and in this world, and how we've been overcoming them, and how we continue to create history in overcoming our challenges and crises and finding our calling in life. So I'll sign off. This is Rainier Avenue Radio, Centering Voices with Blaze. Peace and blessings to the community. And I'll see you next week.
Yes.